Hello everyone, this is Ian Schaefer here with UDA Technologies, and we are just about to take our first look at the new Construction Online mobile app. Joining me today is Holly Gibson, our head of sales and other senior product specialist.
Hey everyone.
We actually brought Drew in as well, who's been working on the mobile app itself. Say hi everyone.
Hey guys, I'm Drew. I've been the lead developer on this new mobile app project.
And I believe we're also going to have Sydney Dorsey fielding questions for us as well. So if you guys do have any questions as we're going through all the tools here for the new mobile app, make sure that you take a look under the Go to Webinar panel. There'll be an area on there marked questions. Open it up, chat in your questions. Sydney will field those for you as she can, or she'll flag some of those for us to cover here in the webinar as well. Now, as we're going through this, of course, today our focus is going to be specifically on the Construction Online mobile app itself. We're going to spend very little time looking at the main website. We've covered that in several of our webinars so far this year. We'll probably do it again in follow-up webinars to this. But today we're going to be using just the mobile app, and to help, we're actually going to be using a casting tool that allows us to take a look at Holly's phone today right here in front of all of us. So we're going to be going through and working with the Construction Online mobile app. Holly, it looks like you've got a couple of apps here for us today as well, and a few emails.
I do. I have a few emails. Pay no attention to that. But I do have a couple of apps. So, of course, one of them you guys can see my Gibson Construction logo. So I do have my company's custom app, which is going to be for my clients to use, loaded here today. And then I also have the brand new Construction Online mobile app. That'll be the one we see there on the left with the CO. So that's our brand new mobile app for Construction Online.
Yeah, and just to give you guys an idea, if for those of you who may have been using some of the older series of apps, of course, at UDA Technologies, we've been in business now for about 20 years, and we're well over 600,000 users at this point. And Construction Online has actually been available since, I believe it's going to be early 2009 or maybe late 2008.
That's right.
And we actually started releasing a series of mobile apps as early as when Construction Online first went live. I think our first apps were on-site files, maybe on-site photo.
On-site video.
Yeah, on-site video. We had a whole series of them for a while, and actually Drew here was one of the first developers that we brought in that pulled it all together and helped design and define this new interface for the all-in-one Construction Online app. Drew, why don't you tell us for just a brief moment what it was like trying to pull all those different tools together in one?
Yeah, so it's definitely a moving target with how many improvements we're always making to COL, trying to hammer all those down into one unified app that everyone can use. And it just made sense because we have all these features on COL, but when we started out, we had a few different apps you could use. But you don't go to 4 different websites for 4 different features of COL. You want it all in one place. So that's what we tried to do here.
And today we're going to be looking at the latest version of this as well. Holly, before we dive into anything, can you give us an idea of what some of the changes are from even last year's all-in-one app that we had available? What are some of the highlights here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk a little bit about those highlights. And I think for those of you who have joined our webinar sessions this year so far, looking at some of our other new releases, looking at ConstructionSuite 10, looking at Construction Online 2019, one of the things that we worked hard to build into those products and this new mobile app is customization. As our client base has continued to grow, like you said, over 600,000 people all over the world at this point, we see a lot of variety in the tools that are most important to certain teams, the way that people really are using what's available in Construction Online to drive their success. And so we've really built with this new app a couple of things that really allow users to customize their experience so that you can really make it your own. We've also made the camera front and center. We found through thousands of conversations with our clients that really one of the most popular things that you guys are out there doing on the mobile app is taking photos. So we built in a ton of power with all of the features and different things that are going to be available with Construction Online. There you can see Ian's desk. But we built in a lot of tools, right, that you can use. But one of the things we see people doing with the mobile app so much is just going out to that job site, taking, 5, 10, 20 pictures a day, uploading those. It's such a great and easy way of documenting that we've made that camera tool a little bit more front and center there. And we've also built some really, really fantastic options for your newsfeed and calendar. So access to information was another real focus when we looked at revisions that we wanted to make for the app, and enhancements for 2019 is just really giving you a place where you can open that app up, tap a single button, and see everything that you need to see in one place. All of the history, what's happening across all of your jobs, what's going on today. So we've really made some enhancements to how that information is viewed.
Yeah, and I'm actually a huge fan of some of these major additions as well. I've spent a lot of time traveling to visit customers, to visit their job sites, taking a look at the various different options and production that's going on for a lot of our clients. And what I find more than anything is the guys who are out there on job sites just need a quick and easy way to get into whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish at any time. And so bringing some of these tools, most prominently, of course, the camera, to the forefront at all times makes it really, really easy for everybody to just jump right in, get that small task done, and get back to work. Huge time savers, even though it's a simple thing like just putting a button down at the bottom. Now, Drew, I think one of the main advantages that we had with the Android app was prior to this new Construction Online app coming out. One of the biggest advantages that I had with my Android was I could actually move the features around and reorganize them. And if memory serves, this was a big part of what happened with just the navigation here for Construction Online in the app as well, correct?
Right, that was a pretty huge addition on the Android side. It allowed people to really make their launch screen their own and reorder the features how they wanted. And now we've brought it to the iOS side as well. So you can reorder the features, and so they're most familiar to see them as soon as you open up your app. You can put your most used ones at the top. And you can also show and hide specific features that you might not want to see as well. So that's available in the settings.
Yeah, exactly. So to get into some of that customization, and you guys can see the icons here moving around, you'll notice that right now I have all of my Construction Online tools and features available to me. So right now, by default, when you first download the app, you'll log in and you'll be able to see all of your tools. So everything from files and pictures to messages, your time tracker, a view of your estimate, your calendar, you name it, it's going to be available for you here. But let's say that for you or maybe certain team members, we don't necessarily need all of those. So a couple of things that we can do would be to just turn some of those features off. If we want to turn things on and off to really customize our experience, we could do that. So let's say I'm in the field and my primary focus is going to be looking at the schedule, and then I'm going to want to be able to enter daily logs and manage punch list items. So we'll go ahead and turn off some of these tools that we don't need or that we don't necessarily need to see. And you can see how easy it is. We just kind of go through, turn some things off there. No big deal. And then when we go back to our home screen, maybe we'll keep our to-do list. So when I go back to my home screen here, now I've got fewer options. I've got a more concise set of tools that maybe is customized for really what I need to do day to day out in the field. And back to Ian, what you said a moment ago, let's say that really the number one thing I need to do is look at this calendar, then I can just take that and actually, instead of going in there, let's go back, can actually take the calendar, drag it up to the top so that it's maybe my first option. So you can really not only choose what shows, you can choose the order. One thing that I also love on the customization front is that also under that settings menu, you have the ability to choose the size of those icons. Now, one thing that we have always seen really on the Android side and see even more on the Apple side these days is a lot of variety in the size of the device. So, sometimes you may want smaller icons. Sometimes, if you're like me, maybe you want larger icons. So we do have the ability to change that, and you can actually see a little preview of what that's going to look like. Or maybe if we want to make those really large and just have, a few options, well, now we can do that. So again, really able to customize that to the user and make it super friendly and easy to use.
Yeah, and I find that this is going to be one of the two in particular, the being able to customize what people have access to or what they see when they're on that main page, and then being able to change the icon size. I find that that's going to help the most, because what we've seen more and more over the past, well, I would say 10 years, it's been for me, about 10 years. But what we see more and more is our field staff, our experts, our professionals that are going out to the job site. Well, we're not all as young as we used to be. And so it helps to be able to just kind of super focus in on those handful of things that we need to get done rather than seeing 15 or 20 different features, all of them tiny on the screen and having to get up close to read them. I'm a huge fan of being able to limit to maybe the 5 or 6 features that we need to have access to. I consider this to also be part of the setup when you're bringing your team in and you're onboarding everybody and helping them learn how to use the app. We can turn off everything that doesn't matter to them, things that they're not going to be interested in, and just help them focus on the handful of things that we want to. What I really love about this as a trainer for UDA, it gives us the ability to go and turn on these features later once they've graduated from that level into moving into some of these additional tools and resources. But we always have some of our options to go back into and take a look at these later as well. What I choose as my features aren't going to affect Holly or Drew as they're working. So in this case, when I'm using the small subset of features, Holly, you can be tracking my project or my progress with some of the other tools in here as well, like Newsfeed, correct?
That's right. And speaking of Newsfeed, that's definitely, another change that we've made with the brand new Construction Online mobile app is in addition to that customization, the Newsfeed is also something that kind of allows someone to begin working with the app very quickly. One thing that we want to focus on when we're looking at helping you guys get started using the mobile app is to be able to jump in and use the app very quickly. We want it to be not only friendly to use, but something fast. Being able to customize that home screen definitely makes it fast and easy to use. The Newsfeed is something else that really, what our Newsfeed is going to show here is exactly what it sounds like. It is a running newsfeed of all the activity that's happening within Construction Online. And you're going to see, of course, things that you've done. You'll see things that others have done. So things that might show up on your newsfeed would be, like we can see here, someone uploading a file. I can see that someone here has created a change order on my account. We go a little bit further, we'll see some leads have been edited. One of my salespeople maybe is coming in, putting together an estimate or working on leads. So you're going to see all of that, just kind of a chronological feed of everything that's happening on your job. So it's a great way to come in, take a look at the app and get a quick read so that you know exactly what are the most recent things that have happened here, what are the most recent pieces of content, files, pictures, that sort of thing that have been created or added in the system. And it's also a great way too to see what your clients have been up to. If you're using Client Link and Team Link for your clients and extended team, their activity will also show up here as well. So you'll be able to see what they're doing in the system.
Which, by the way, this is a great tool for teamwork, because what this allows us to do, I'm going to be incentivized to get most of my documentation in. I want to take my pictures, I want to get my files uploaded, I want to get my daily logs put in there so that at any given point, Holly can actually just pull up this section of the app and be able to go through and review everything that we've got going on. This saves me time as one of the field staff, because now she doesn't have to call me up or chase me down or anything like that. If she's at Starbucks grabbing a coffee or something like that, and she just wants to do a quick review, it's all right there in the palm of her hand, and I can just get back to work doing whatever it is that I need to focus on. So again, all of these tools and resources are going to be kind of pulling together so that Holly can be tracking this progress in the newsfeed, and you can too. As often as your team is putting in that information, you'll be able to see the results right away from here. And keep in mind that we also have some of those other tools in Construction Online, like the log reminders, that are going to be reaching out and encouraging them to get their information put in. So this, for you as a company owner or a project manager or coordinator perhaps, just gives you that quick resource to go in and take a look at everything. If you need to drill into more specifics, of course, that newsfeed is going to be available on Construction Online as well. You can see it in most projects or for most of your overview tools, just like in areas like the photo stream, for example. Or in your projects themselves, when you go to the overview for the project, it all lives right there underneath that quick links portion for Construction Online as well. This just gives you a much more mobile-friendly way to get all of that information, and quickly, which is one of the things that I love about this. Now, we also made some of the changes that are similar to this kind of feed of information in some of the areas, like, again, photos probably have the photo stream here as well. The calendar also got a beautiful rework, for the new Construction Online app as well. From here, if we go in and take a look at the new calendar tools and resources, you'll actually see where it starts to give you a little bit of a better controls over how the information kind of comes together.
Yeah, that's right. So just like the Newsfeed is so effective because you have something that, we're all used to using our phones. We're used to kind of being able to scroll through and get the information we need without doing too much flipping from place to place. So what you'll see on the redesigned calendar here is the exact same type of thing that we see there in the Newsfeed for activity. The calendar is going to show us that for, of course, our upcoming activity, things that we have on our calendars or on our schedules. You'll notice that some of the activities on my calendar here, you'll see different little symbols there. So what you see on foundation materials there, for example, is indicating to me that that is coming in from one of my Gantt charts. So when we look at the calendar in the Construction Online mobile app, of course, we're going to see all of the tasks, milestones, related activity that you've built on your Gantt chart calendar for all of your schedules or on your Gantt chart schedule. We're also going to see those calendar events, and that could be just things like meetings or other things that you've put on the calendar, maybe a reminder to yourself. So that's all going to show up side by side here on the calendar. You'll notice that with the view we're currently in here, this is allowing me to, of course, see all of those projects side by side. So that's where the different colors are coming from. Just like with your Construction Online master calendar, Construction Online mobile is going to also offer that master calendar where we can see these are items coming in from different jobs. If we want to look at a little bit more detail here, we can go ahead and just tap into that and be able to see quickly what's going on here with this task. We actually, this one is already complete, but we can actually even check off that item as complete right there on my schedule, from the mobile app here. So a ton of information right in the palm of your hand. And of course, if you need to add something here, you're also able to come in and really quickly just add a new calendar event. So if we wanted to, add a meeting with Drew or something like that to our calendar, we'd be able to do that really quickly. Right from this master calendar page. And you'll notice that when I add that new activity, it'll allow me to select which project or calendar we're adding this for. And then we would be able to just save the information here and have that, go ahead and show up directly onto our calendar.
Now you'll also notice there's an easy way to quick pick a specific date here as well. There's a small button up at the top or a drag down option here that allows you to actually expand a full month view if you needed to go through and quickly navigate to a specific date. You'll also notice that there's the small dots on those dates as well to indicate that there's activity going on then. Once again, the idea here is if you need to jump to a specific date, this is a very quick and effective way to be able to get there without having to scroll through this infinite list of tasks and activities. I've worked with some clients who have hundreds or maybe thousands of jobs going on at any given time. Most of them would be either small or spaced out really far. But in this case, rather than trying to go through those huge lists, you could just jump to a specific date here and see everything that's going on at that point.
That's right. And just like with your main Construction Online screen, also when we're looking at our calendar settings, you do have the ability, just like in your Construction Online account, you do have the ability to turn these calendars on or off. So, maybe if you have a focus really on just a couple of jobs and don't want to see everything, but do need to see more than one calendar side by side, this is where you could really go and turn those on and off, again, customizing exactly what it is that you see on your calendar. So by default, again, we're going to have those turned on for you. But you can definitely customize that. Again, that's one thing we've really built in for you with this app is the ability for you to customize what you're seeing so that it's most relevant to what you're doing day to day.
Now, jumping back away from the calendar and into some more of the content that we're going to be working with. Now, of course, with these projects, we've been talking about a lot of additional ways to get information together for them. Hopefully your team is out there working on things like the calendars and they're doing their daily logs and they're putting together to-dos. But a lot of the times we need to go into and adjust what kind of documentation we have for these jobs. And the easiest way to do that is to actually jump into your files and photos and take a look at how some of the documentation is actually lined up here within these projects. What were we looking at earlier? Oh, you found it. Okay.
Yeah.
But it just gives you now an easier way to get into and see all the different files and folders that are available. It gives you quick access to some of the folders or areas where your customers are going to be working or your subcontractors are going to be working. And again, it does also give you a little quick reference on what files we have available, what pictures people are taking. Again, this new view for your files and folders just makes it far, far easier to kind of navigate through and see what's happening on the job, and to make sure the right people can see the right files. That for me has always been, it's been a lifetime concern of mine whenever we work on projects, making sure that people have the folders or the files that they need. So in this case, you can actually see which folders are available for your client link users, and you could jump into and add files there if they're not already present. So again, with some of these new enhancements, even under what we would consider to be the obvious features and enhancements that we needed to get in there and add, I find that this is one of the most, I almost want to say most important. It's hard to put those things on there, but it is. For me, it's one of the most important things that we could add, is the easy way for you guys to go through and navigate through these folders and files and see exactly what's supposed to be there, verify that your files and documents are all in the right place, so that when you're taking this information off to apply for new permits, you've got all the documentation that you're supposed to have. Mm-hmm. And you can check, not in the car on the way, because we're not supposed to have a phone in the hand when we're driving, but maybe when you get there or right before you leave, perhaps. It's, again, quick and easy ways to go in and see everything and open it up and make sure that it's there.
Yeah, that's right. Just like you'll notice that with some of the other tools that we've looked at, when we look at files and photos, one thing that we've definitely put an emphasis on is ease of access. So, like you said, you really want to be able to go in, have access to those items quickly. Another thing we've done to make that easier is to really increase the size of previews. So you'll now notice that kind of rather than looking at a tiny thumbnail and maybe a really long name of a photo or something like that, you have references visually. Now I've taken a lot of pictures of keyboards here, so let's just maybe jump into a different folder, but you can see really, really quick visual references. These are really nice large previews. If we want to see this photo in a little bit more detail, all you have to do is tap there. It'll go ahead and open right up. So you can really, again, get access to and do something with a lot of information very, very quickly. Now, whether you're accessing your photo or file from your Newsfeed, from your files and photos section, once you've got that picture open, then you have really the same sharing options that you would normally have on your native device. So if I click that share icon, of course I can always share that through Construction Online, and many of your folders will already be shared, of course, with those extended team members. But maybe we just want to download this picture to our local device. We just want to download this to our phone, or maybe we want to send someone a note or a chat, or kind of save it for some other purpose. Then you have, all your normal sharing options are going to be available through the app as well.
Now I'm taking pictures of keyboards and such. It is one of the easier things to do in this case too. I know over the past several years, especially having worked first with on-site photos, feels like 1,000 years ago now, we did have some limits in the past on what we were capable of pulling in or how quickly those files and photos would get added. One of the areas that I think that you guys will enjoy as well now with the new Construction Online app is when you're taking pictures, it queues them up and then gives you the list of all the pictures that you would want to include within your project. So it does make it much, much easier for you to go through and kind of add in some of these additional images and documents, work within them as well a little bit. You can see them queuing up now.
So yeah, we can take, really as many pictures as we need to. You'll see photos start to line up or queue up there along the bottom. So we've taken a few pictures. When we go ahead and select next, it's going to give me a chance if I'd like to review those pictures, I can. So if we want to see them in a little bit more detail, we would choose review. I'm going to leave all of these selected. I like these pictures. I want to go ahead and upload all of them to the project. So
Holly, this is how you get all the keyboards.
I know, it is. You told me I couldn't take your picture though during the webinar. So
Yeah, that's true.
I'm pretty limited here, you guys. So now I've got my pictures, and you can imagine how convenient this is. I mean, when I think about clients that I've worked with in the past, especially getting started with Construction Online for the first time, often what they'll tell me is they do have their team on the job site taking photos. Often that'll be done with a phone. Sometimes it's just done with a camera that they kind of have in their truck. When those photos are done, someone has to drive back to the office or go home, download them somewhere, upload them somewhere else for sharing. There's a lot of steps involved and a lot of information that can get lost. Well, here you really eliminate all of those steps. I've taken those 3 photos. I could take 20 pictures on the job site. If we wanted to really queue it up, now it's going to prompt me here. What do we want to use these pictures for? So right now my option is going to be file upload. So we want to upload these as a file. Since I didn't have a project selected, it's going to ask me to choose now which project. So we'll go ahead into Smith Residence. And then if we want to add them to maybe a specific folder, you can keep making those selections. So I'll just add this to Holly's folder, select, and go ahead and upload those pictures. Those are now immediately part of the record for this project. So that means that everyone on your team who does have access to Construction Online and has access to that particular folder, immediately they're going to see those available. They'll show up, of course, on everyone's newsfeed in the app. Depending on how your settings are done, you guys will start to get maybe an email or a text that says, hey, Holly has uploaded a new picture. So that information is not only stored safely immediately, then the information is sent out to the rest of the team so that everyone knows there's new information to look at.
As an added bonus to this too, one of the areas that I was just looking at now, on the Construction Online app on Android, and I'm sure it works the same here on iPhone, when you are looking through those files, if you needed to send them out anywhere to a different area, let's say for example you needed to download some of these pictures and email them off to the client or the owner or anything like that, you've got really easy to use tools that allow you to do that as well. You can download all the files. Once you download those files, it allows you to send them to different apps. You can use them to include on emails or anything else like that as well. Once again, as you're kind of working through this, in the past everything was fairly well isolated within the apps. Again, I'm thinking back to like on-site photo or on-site files in this case. Now it's much, much more integrated with all the other features and functions you guys are using to run your businesses, even from your phone. So as you are working through this, Construction Online is going to be feeding those other apps and those other tools with a lot of great information too. So if you do need to send these out via email, or you're working with somebody who, God love them, we've got a lot of people that don't really want to get into and start using smartphones or anything like that. If they're still using old school email on a brick of a computer back in the office or something like that, you can help. You can give them information still. You can make some of this information a little bit more readily accessible. Or we find that a lot of people will use things like game plans or some of the other reports that they can upload here to just share when they're on site with the person. Because again, this information is really easy to pull up, and if they're standing right there next to you, you can actually just pull up the files that they're supposed to look at, or their calendar, or whatever it may be, and hand them your phone for a couple of minutes and let them take a look. Sometimes that's enough to get people moving in the right direction. And in fact, this leads us into one of the next sections that we have that also kind of has some of those interactive options in there as well. The next area that I'd like to kind of touch on real quick is the all-important change order function. Now, of course, for me, the most important part of working with change orders is not necessarily sharing, but getting documentation of approval. For me, it's always been the most important part because I don't want to waste any time contesting change orders. If the customer asks me to do it, both of our expectations should be that we get paid for that additional work. And part of what Construction Online offers, the Construction Online app offers now, is the ability to get those signed off on while you're there with the customer. Getting that documented approval is available right through the app. And if you've got that customer there and you're talking to them about potential change orders, great news. When you hit that little button to approve it, you can just slide the phone over to them, they can sign off on it, and you can move on with your day.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see that, I've change orders is one of the features that I'm showing here on my home screen. So I'll dive into the change orders, and it's actually just so easy to do these types of things right in the field. Not only do you have the access, but it's just easy to do. We'll go ahead and select to add a new change order. We see it's automatically created a number for me. We'll give the change order a name. So let's just say we'll do this as a, I don't know, some sort of upgrade maybe. So we'll say this is a countertop upgrade. So we'll go ahead and fill this out. Now, of course, if you guys like to use Siri or some of the talk to text options that are available on the phone, you can definitely do that here. It's nice when you're taking some additional notes. For my change orders, if I want to document additional information like change order type or change order reason, maybe we want to say this was a client request here, we can go ahead and document this. So you can see this is not watered down compared to what you have available on Construction Online. You really have the full tool set here. You'll be able to add in that description if you like. And then, of course, we would perhaps in some cases want to take a photo if we needed to do maybe an attachment. You can always, assign maybe how many work days we're adding. So we're adding 2 additional days onto the schedule here. And then, of course, we want to give this a quick price. So we'll go ahead and add a quick price here. We'll say this is going to be a $2,000 upgrade. We're only going to do one of those. And we're actually, sorry guys, I think I lost my phone connection there. Let's get back. Okay, perfect. So I've added my markup and price here. We'll go back, and really maybe that's all I need for this change order. We've got the number of work days. I'm not going to add any pictures at the moment. Now, one thing to note when we're creating a change order is that if you are on the job site and you want to go ahead and create this so we can get client approval, we can do that. Notice that we also have the option here at the very bottom to choose draft status. And what that means is that we're drafting up a change order. So this is really useful, and especially in scenarios where you guys have team members in the field. We want to be able to go ahead and document those requests for changes, but really those are things that you might need to estimate out a little bit more in depth, or you need someone in the office to be able to pick that up and do a little bit more costing on it. In that case, you can use this draft option, which just means, hey, the client won't be able to see it yet. It's not going to a portal. We'll just be able to go ahead and create the change order, get it started. In this case, I'm pretty confident I want to go ahead and get the approval done on this change order. We're ready to do that, so I'll go ahead and just hit create. Now we have a new change order here, so I've got a new one here at the bottom, and all I would need to do is come in. We're going to go ahead and mark that as approved, and when we do that,
you have to turn it on first.
When we do that, we'll be able to go ahead and actually capture the signature right from our clients. Yeah, that's right. I just said it does not happen in draft mode, so. So now we're in active mode. We'll go in and select approve. And of course, your client can do this as well on their phone, through your custom mobile app. But if you're sitting right with them, so easy to just go ahead and hit that approve button. We'll go ahead and select that. And now the client can sign off right on the phone. We'll submit and save that. And that means we've captured the signature. And moving forward, when you print those change order documents or contracts, you'll always have the signature available right on your, right on your paperwork or anything else that you're doing there.
Now, again, as we're working through these change orders, it's important to note that from the app, you have easy access and the easy tools available to put that information together, both on your phone or on an iPad or an Android tablet, wherever it may be. We can put those things together. I would recommend empowering your field staff to put those change orders together, not necessarily make them live right away, but at least start that process. Anytime a customer comes to talk to you about a potential change on one of these jobs, go ahead and create that change order, set it to a draft status, and that way everybody back in the office will get that automatic notification that that information is coming together. This, once again, just allows that communication to flow freely, rather than keeping those silos of information, like from the job site, they've got all the information specific to the job for that week. that information doesn't get transferred back to the office until the next time we have a meeting. If that paperwork is even brought with them, more often than not, I find yellow legal pads on job sites or manila folders full of stuff. And again, for me, that's always been a concern, because if it goes into that manila folder, God knows when it's going to show up back in the office.
If ever, right?
If ever. We've got, he's going to hate me for talking about him so much, but we've got a builder down the street from us who uses our tools as well. And one of his project managers puts everything into folders, and he keeps copies of his folders in the office, in his truck, on job sites, because he's prone to leaving them in the bed of the truck and then driving off, and then they blow away. Or he'll leave it on top of the truck sometimes, or sometimes he leaves it on the job site and it's got everything that he needs to get back to the office. Again, this isn't unique to him either. I see people do this all the time, and it's so easy to put something down and forget about it, even just for a couple of minutes, and lose it. So in this case, if you put it down, but in the app, it's impossible to lose. The information is tracked in there always.
That's right. You know, it's going to go ahead and capture the information. It's also going to make information that you may have put down from other places, you know, always available. You know, other common things that we see people using the app really heavily to do would be not only access files and pictures, document those change orders, manage things like checklist, punch list, daily logs, daily reporting. These are all easy things that really the app allows you to tie that together. I hope these are things that you guys are doing or tracking anyway, but often they're being tracked in such a way that they are not always accessible. Maybe you have your punch list or your inspection lists in a manila folder, you know, back in the office. Well, if you forget those, you don't have them. If you're using a platform like Construction Online, of course, we're building those into your project templates. You have this information always available. Now, someone on the job site needs to conduct their weekly safety inspection. They can go in, pull up that list, and kind of quickly go through and check off, yes, this looks good. If something doesn't look good, we'll want to go in and document that. We'll want to go ahead and add, you know, maybe an issue. Maybe we'll want to, at that point, take a photo and document exactly what was wrong. So you'll be able to do all of this really very easily. Same thing with just tracking completions for things like those punch list items or your to-do list or what's on your schedule. And then it also allows, you know, of course, easy ways for you to just add in additional information, usually along with those photos, in the forms of daily logs, where we can come in and create those again really quickly and easily, just directly from the app.
Now again, we talk about this a lot. Things like daily logs, areas like punch lists. Part of the reason why we are touching on this on such a regular basis is because these are some of the most important time-saving tools that you can implement with your team, is CAD. As you're working through these, we want the team out in the field to go ahead and put together just a quick, short little description of what they did. For most of them, we hope that they'll be able to use the voice-to-text options. Sometimes those voice-to-text options are a little bit difficult to work with. Maybe my accent is too strong. Maybe I'm a little under the weather one day or something like that. But ultimately, these tools allow them to get you all the information that you need on these job sites and avoid any confusion, or more importantly, give somebody at the main office the ability to get out in front of potential pitfalls before they become difficult. For me, this is, again, one of the more important tools that you guys have at your disposal. Somebody who is on the job site in the middle of the work that they're on at any given point may not be thinking about the big picture, the potential pitfalls that they're going to run into. A quick little note back to the office through one of these daily logs makes a world of difference, because again, it's getting it out to the project management team, it's getting it out in front of the ownership, it shows up in those news feeds so that you'd be able to see that information and the documentation coming through right away. Our goal in making sure that these are going to be some of the top features, most commonly used features in the app, is just to start rebuilding that communication that sometimes breaks down with people in their legal pads. if you get those punch lists together and you're walking with a customer, you guys are doing a closeout inspection or something like that, you're doing the closeout punch list, the customer has that comfort of knowing everything that they have as a concern is being properly documented. And again, as you look at the punch lists, it's coming together here in the mobile app. But once you get back to Construction Online, you can actually print it up as a very professional, elegant report that even has the signature lines down at the bottom so that they can sign off when they get that paper copy. It goes in their binder. They're thrilled. They love you guys for all of these tools. And again, it's just a comfort to have all of that information documented well while you're talking to them. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that discussion come up of clients that have just been talking about it so much that they're starting to do all of your lead capture for you because they're sending all their friends your way because, again, they had that personal connection. They saw you invested in their project and noting every single concern as they voice it. Again, it's the simplest thing in the world, but my God, it's so powerful. So definitely make sure that you guys familiar yourself with those two. Familiarize yourselves with logging for your team. That should be one of the top 3 features for them, absolutely. And for you and your management team, punch lists are the all-important feature there too, especially since you can just take pictures of whatever it is. And if you're interested, you can actually take those and pin them into Redline as well, which is what I've been working on over here on my app. There's some of the new features that are available within Redline also, of course, allow you to do some of the tools here, like just like with the main website, you can go into and open up one of these pages, take a look at the information available within it. But as you are walking through and doing something like a punch list as you're walking with Redline, it gives you a quick and easy way to, again, pin any of those items that you're building into your punch list. And you can just pull them up and apply them to the set of plans, or more importantly, as you're working through these as well. The new navigation and tools and everything in here allow you guys to navigate between pages easily, to pull it up and work with it a little bit more readily from the phone. This one actually opened up about 10 times faster than they have in the past as well, so it's really been optimized for mobile use. And once again, visuals are king on job sites. If you can pin it to a specific area, or you can align it to in the plans exactly where it belongs, no more questions, no more doing it in the wrong space, no more, well, I didn't know which north-facing room you meant because there's 12. Again, all of these visuals just provide that extra little bit of insight for your team who's working on job sites. And this is something I wasn't aware about. Did they actually implement some of the quick takeoff tools in there as well?
Yeah, that's right. So again, just like with some of the other things that we've looked at here with the Construction Online mobile app, you really do have access to a full tool set. With something like Redline, it's so great. Now, of course, many of you looking at your plans may want to be using something like an iPad or a Surface Pro or an iPad Pro, some of those larger devices. For reference, I'm on an iPhone. I think it's one of the 6S's or something like that. It's not a super new iPhone. It's not super old. So, we of course are always going to recommend keeping your technology up to date, but we're not looking at, the world's most giant phone here or anything like that. So you do, scroll around. You still have plenty of access to be able to see the plans. I can zoom in and out. I can even do things like use those measuring tools to take a quick measurement to get a little square footage or some linear footage on one of these plans. So really all of the same tool sets that you would have access to going through your Construction Online, just kind of logging in on your browser, kind of on a desktop computer. In general, you're going to have that same tool set here. There are a couple of small exceptions, but otherwise you really have everything, kind of in the palm of your hand. Again, you can do so much.
You'll also notice, by the way, there are a set of menu options up at the top as well. File, edit, view, sheet. Some of these menu options exist up at the top of the set of the pages in Redline just to give you an easier access to a menu. When you click on one of those options, like File, for example, it'll open up all of the different options that would typically live in that File menu, like the ability to save or send it out to somebody else or anything like that. Some of the other pages will also include, like under Share, for example, the ability to email a link to the page or print it out or download it. course, to print, you would need to have a printer on hand or nearby. But as you do work through these, again, it gives you a much more touch-friendly menu that you can find some of those, again, necessary components to working with a set of plans like this. If you're talking to the engineer and he wants to see some of these markups, fantastic. Click share, send him an email, and it'll include the link to the page. And so he can download it or he can log in and take a look himself. If you guys needed any additional assistance on this as well, we also included that very helpful little help menu that pulls up things like our knowledge base, what you guys may have used. Hopefully you guys have all had the chance to use it. What normally shows up as the little help button in the bottom right hand corner, it's still available here in the mobile app version as well, so you can actually pull up the knowledge base from that menu. And the toolbar is where you can go in and start changing some of the additional options, like the color for the marker that you guys are using for your markups. Just clicking on this little triangle that she just clicked on really quickly allows you to expand that out, and you can go through and customize some of your things like fonts and font colors if you guys are putting in a quick little sticky note, or you can change the pen color or the stroke width for anything that you guys are doing markups on. And for each of the different features, of course, everything that you guys need to use or to customize in there, they'll all be available up there in that toolbar as well. So what we've done is we've taken all the different aspects of Redline on the web browser through Construction Online proper, and we've now made all of them accessible here in the mobile app as well. So using the app doesn't short you any of these amazing features in the Redline toolset. All of them are now going to be available right here in the palm of your hand, with all of the fun pinch to zoom and all those tools in there as well. Now along those lines, Holly, you've got our list. Was there anything left that we have to cover for today?
Well, as we're kind of coming to the close or the top of the hour, there are a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that we covered. We do see some great questions coming in, so we'll be sure to hang around and address those for you guys. But one question in particular I wanted to touch on, because I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about, of course, the app and the brand new app, how you guys can get your hands on it. I did want to talk a little bit about some of our future plans for the app, kind of what our next steps here are going to be. And before jumping into that, I wanted to touch on a tool that has been available in the app for some time, and that's going to be our time tracking tool. Very, very popular feature available in the app. We have a ton of people. I know many of you guys have your teams using this regularly. With the time tracking, of course, for those of you who haven't started using it yet, it gives you a great, fast, and easy way for employees to clock in and clock out at the beginning and end of their shift, or perhaps clock in and clock out of specific jobs, so that we can really track and be able to allocate hours or chunks of time to a particular project. Especially helpful for those of you who are juggling multiple projects with one staff. So, you'll have different team members working on different things throughout the day. We can do a quick clock in. We can clock into a specific job. So if I wanted my time today to be allocated to this Smith residence, I'll go ahead and just choose that. So we have all of the tracking here that's going to run in the background. One thing that this does do is go ahead and capture my GPS location. So as I'm clocking in and out throughout the day, of course, we'd want to use that for tracking breaks and things like that. So I'm really capturing all of my activity. It's also doing a nice GPS capture. And then we can, go back and pull a report by looking at our timesheet, so that we can go back and look at different days and how much time or how many hours have been logged there on those different days. Now, one thing that we're working on kind of outside of the app is a brand new time tracking interface for Construction Online. So I know that's been something that's been really popular for you guys to use in the app, would be the time tracker. And we're actually kind of getting close to having that same tool or feature available for you within the main Construction Online interface. So you'll be able to do even more with these reports.
Absolutely. And most of the tools, we find that most of the people who are using time tracking, they are definitely clocking into jobs. Most of our field staff are using these. I would recommend everybody in the office use it too. It's easy to overlook how much time we might invest in putting together contracts or reworking an estimate during the negotiation phase. Even though I, in the office sitting at my desk, don't necessarily need it to track my GPS location because I know where my desk is. I know where I do most of this work. But again, me being able to go in there and figure out how much time I'm investing of my own time in reworking an estimate because a customer is trying to keep it under a specific budget dollar amount. That's an important number for me to capture. It gives me greater insight on the types of projects and the type of work that I'm doing. As a QuickBooks Pro advisor, I also find that it's one of the hottest topics for construction accountants. Just being able to take all of your time that you put into a project and appropriately assign it to that project. Like office staff as well seem to forget that while we are usually paid as overhead, if I invest 15 hours this week in one specific project, that's an expensive job. If I'm supposed to be splitting my time evenly among 10 projects, but I have to spend almost half of my work week on one job, we need that insight. And the easiest way to get that is to just go ahead and use these clock in, clock out functions. In my case, I'm not going to be putting together my paycheck based on that, but it's still really, really valuable information to have. It allows you to know if those percentages that you guys are applying at the bottom of your estimates are accurate enough, or if maybe we need to adjust those based on the size and scale of those jobs a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And that insight, by the way, is the difference between good companies and great companies. Great companies know how much time they're spending on each of these jobs, even with what would previously be the what they might consider to be the untrackables. How much time did you spend putting together all the files and the paperwork? How much time did you spend on emails for that job? You know, I'm not going to suggest that you guys should clock in and out for each email that you reply to, but a rough idea helps. And so when you are investing your time in one of those jobs, just click the button really quickly. It doesn't take more than a second. Now, along those lines too, we do have a fair few questions that are coming up. But Holly, you mentioned that you kind of wanted to take a look at or share with them some of our future plans. I know, Drew, you're kind of invested in that part as well, since you'll be working on it.
Yeah.
So why don't we close up with that as I'm reading through some of these questions?
Yeah, so a couple of the big improvements that you should be on the lookout for is we're currently in the process of overhauling project logging on the native app. Kind of along the same vein as the improvements from the calendar feature. We spent a lot of time there really trying to optimize it for mobile use, and so we're trying to do the exact same thing for daily logs. So just making that view really mobile friendly, super easy for your clients and team members to go in there and just log their stuff without even thinking about it. So that's going to be a really huge improvement. Another thing we're looking at doing is, since that camera feature is so out front in the open, we're trying to add additional options there. Once you've taken a photo and you've hit the next button, currently you can select a file upload. We really want this to be your home base kind of going forward. So from right here, with that logging update, you'll be able to make a log straight from this screen. You don't have to navigate to logging ahead of time. You can just take your photos you want to take and then decide what to do with them later on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say those are some really, really exciting updates, Drew. I know that, like we talked about in the beginning, the photos and pictures that people are taking are really such a big part of how we see people using the app. I'm excited to see just some additional options for people. I think those will be really popular tools.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, it's one of those combining step sort of features. It's quality of life enhancements that most people don't even think about. They're just so accustomed to using a camera to take pictures, or they take pictures on their phone and they're running through the camera roll. In this case, it's going to become such an integrated component. It's going to simplify so much by combining those couple of steps. You snap a couple of photos because you're actually logging what's happening on this job, and so in that case, you'd just be able to apply it directly. No 5 steps to accomplish one goal. It's all in one. Now, along those lines, some of the plans that we have for this moving forward, of course, we've talked about some of the addition to the time tracking, like with the admin dashboard on Construction Online. We expect that to be out within the next, probably, if we can get it out this quarter, I think that we'd be pretty happy to have that release. If not, it should be early in third quarter this year. We also expect to see a few additional enhancements with the mobile app. Maybe not everything that Drew has in his pipeline right now, but we do expect to have some of these things coming forward in the next, again, same kind of time frame. Within the next few months, we want to make sure that we get that. But it is very important for us that all of you get in there and take a look at this app and share with us your feedback. We want to know what your favorite parts are. We want to know what your team gravitates to. We want to know what your customer is in here looking for, although the customer has a special app all of their own that they can use. But we're highly interested in making sure that we can see this information as well. We want to know what you think. So as you're coming through and you're working with these things too,
Oops.
there was 2 less emails there.
Hey.
I accidentally read 2. But as you're going through that list, we are very interested, and as in case you guys haven't guessed, those emails do go back to the whole team. Drew gets it immediately when you send those back. I get them as well. Holly gets them, and don't use her email numbers here on her phone as any kind of indicator. Her work email is much cleaner than the home email. But as you guys are sending that information to us, do share your thoughts. We really, really do treasure those. We want to know what you guys are working with. We want to know what your favorite parts are. And we want to make sure that those parts are the best in the industry. So again, to get to that area, just go up to the settings. And there's plenty of tools there to send us feedback, or feature requests or anything else that might come through. So definitely take a look at those, guys. We'd love to hear from you.
Now with that, I think we are out of time, but before we completely wrap up, just a quick reminder to everyone joining us today to be sure to check out our events page. It's at udatechnologies.com. There'll be a link for events there at the top that will give you guys really the full schedule of upcoming webinars. Ian, I believe we have a lunch and learn session next week, kind of continuing that workshop series for Construction Online. We'll be talking about leads and opportunities. That'll be on Wednesday, May 1st. The following week, we'll be taking a look at another pretty new feature, and definitely a feature that's seen a lot of enhancements recently, and that's the integration with Quickbooks Online. So we'll be looking at that May 9th, and then some additional sessions coming up for you guys, of course, throughout the month of May. We'll be posting new sessions for June coming up in the next few days, so definitely be on the lookout for those. Also, from this page, you can access all of the recordings of previous webinars that we've done. So if you really want to go back and take a look at a scheduling workshop, or maybe you want to come back and take a look at this mobile app session again, all of these are going to be available for you right on the website here.
This is great, and it's exciting for us to see as well. Now, as you guys are looking through this, not only will you find all the information here, but from the main Construction Online page, you'll find additional details. We always want to bring it up to the forefront. So keep an eye out for any of the notifications or pop-ups when you're logging into your Construction Online account. We always want to make sure that you guys are aware, and those pop-ups are usually the early announcements for any of these types of events that we're hosting. So keep an eye on those. Definitely take a look, because we want to make sure that you guys have the option or the ability to attend all of these. We are here to help. Our goal is your successes, so we want to make sure that we're always investing in events like these to make sure that we cover you and your team as best we can. Don't forget as well, all of these are going to be available from the main Construction Online webpage. When you come to ConstructionOnline.com or UDATechnologies.com, just go to the events option up here at the top, and this will take you into our full series of webinars upcoming, and it'll also give you some quick and easy ways to reach out to us from this main page as well. Phone number is always up at the top. You've got email addresses at the bottom of the page too, so if there's anything that we can do, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Otherwise, I do think you're right, Holly. We have run out of time for today, but we really appreciate you guys joining us today for our Construction Online new mobile app webinar and kind of preview. If you do have any additional questions, send us a quick line. We'll be reaching out to everybody who's attended, and if you guys need us, again, website, it's got the phone number, email addresses, ton of ways to get back in touch with us, or hopefully we'll see you on May 1st at 1 o'clock Eastern. And if we don't talk to you again before then, guys, have a wonderful day, a great weekend, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.